Today I'm teaching you how to make a strawberry jam that's so delicious, no one would ever guess that it's a sugar-free jam. This quick, small batch recipe has no sugar, no pectin, and only 3 natural ingredients. So let's get started. First, we're gonna wash 1 pound of strawberries really well. I'm using organic strawberries because conventionally grown strawberries have ranked #1 on the Dirty Dozens list every year since 2016. Their testing shows that even after rinsing and washing, non-organic strawberries still contain pesticides. In fact, some samples contained up to 23 different pesticides after washing. If you have to buy conventional strawberries, you're going to want to soak them so that you can remove as much of the pesticide residue as possible. To do this, you'll take 1 teaspoon of baking soda and dissolve it in 4 cups of water. After you place your strawberries in there, you'll let it soak for about 10 to 15 minutes. After that's done, rinse them under cold running water and then you should be good to go. This method can remove up to 96% of certain pesticides from the surface of your berries, so it's something that you definitely want to do first. Why do you think that it's so important to heat up our mason jar before we add our jam? Exactly, the last thing we want is for our mason jar to crack or explode. To prevent this, we need to raise the surface temperature of the glass. You can do this by running it under warm water, or you can heat it up in your oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes. After that, we'll pour boiling water into it and then set it to the side. Next, we're going to hull our strawberries by removing the leafy parts and stems. You can do this using a fruit huller, or you can grab a sharp knife and cut as close to the stem as possible.
Sunlight streaming, blade in hand. Early morning, 'cause we've got plans. Red and juicy, fresh from the vine. Gonna turn them into something fine. Wash them clean, pat them dry. Smell the sweetness, making spirits high. Do you slice it? Can you taste it? Tell me, how does it feel, fresh and sweet?
Now we're going to cut our strawberries into about 4 to 6 pieces each. That way they won't roll all over the place when we try to chop them. Now don't go crazy, there's no reason to make sure that every piece is the exact same size.
In the kitchen, the sun shining bright. Berry juice drips, it's a sweet delight. Mix it up, sugar and a little lime. Gonna make it magic, 1 jar at a time. Strawberry jam, oh so divine. Spread the love on toast anytime. Do you slice it? Can you taste it? Tell me, how does it feel, fresh and sweet?
Now we're going to place the plate into the freezer so that later, when we test if our jam will set, it'll be ready for us. Then, we're going to place a heavy bottom pot onto the stove and set the heat to low. We'll add our strawberries right away because we want them to heat up with the pot and start to release their liquids. We don't want to wait until it's hot because then the strawberries will stick to the bottom and they may burn. Next, we'll add 2 tablespoons of lemon or lime juice. And this does a few things for us. You see, when heated, pectin molecules bind together and trap liquid, which thickens the mixture. Without enough pectin, our jam would wind up way too thin. But the good news is, the acid in the juice helps to activate the pectin in the strawberries by lowering the pH of the mixture. So it's this process that's going to help our jam set and thicken, giving it the perfect texture. Plus, the tartness of the juice enhances the strawberry flavor and balances the sweetness while keeping our jam looking vibrant and delicious. And as a bonus, the acidity helps preserve the jam by preventing bacteria and mold, so it lasts longer. Just make sure to use store-bought lemon or lime juice because fresh squeeze isn't the best for this situation. It can vary too much in acidity, but store-bought juice has a reliable pH, ensuring our jam sets properly every single time. At this point, using a lid helps trap the moisture as our strawberries begin to sweat. But later, we'll remove the lid to let some of that liquid evaporate and achieve our desired thickness. This is not a set it and forget it recipe. You cannot walk away while making this jam because you're going to be doing a lot of stirring. If you go too long between stirs, your strawberries will start to stick. So a rubber spatula will help you remove any stuck-on bits and prevent your strawberries from burning. If it's sticking too much, your heat needs to be turned down or you need to stir more often. After your berries have released their juices and started to soften, you can use a masher to break them down further. This helps ensure an even consistency. It releases more natural sugars and pectin to aid in thickening, and it enhances the flavor. If you prefer a completely smooth jam, you'll probably want to use an immersion blender. I like mine to include larger pieces of fruit, more like a preserve, so I'm going to take it easy. Speaking of easy, do you know how easy it would be to subscribe right now so you never miss a video? Yeah, super easy. Now that we've mashed the heck out of our strawberries, we're going to add a half a cup of date paste. Date paste is an amazing natural sweetener that's packed with nutrients like fiber, potassium, and magnesium. And unlike refined sugar, it has a low glycemic index, so it won't spike your blood sugar levels. Plus, it enhances the overall flavor of the strawberries. As we cook the mixture, the date paste will blend with the natural pectin in the strawberries and lemon juice, helping the jam to set perfectly without needing added sugar or commercial pectin. This makes our jam healthier and just as delicious. As our jam continues to thicken, I want to show you something. I've got two different store-bought jams. The first is Smucker's, and the second is an off-brand that I bought at the Dollar Tree. First up, we'll talk about Smucker's. It contains high fructose corn syrup, and sugar. Combined, this little jar contains an incredible 234 grams of added sugar. And to put that into perspective, that's almost 1¼ cups of sugar. Now let's take a look at the Dollar Tree brand. And surprisingly, theirs only contains sugar, no high fructose corn syrup or corn syrup. But don't let that fool you, there's nothing healthy about this. This little jar contains a ridiculous 253 grams of added sugar. And to put that into perspective, that's over 1¼ cups of added sugar. But our jam contains no added sugar. Not only does this make our jam healthier, but it also means we're avoiding all of those empty calories and potential health risks associated with high sugar intake. So we can feel great knowing it's nutrient-packed, free from added sugars, and tastes absolutely amazing. You see how it's thickening up and takes a lot longer to fill in the gaps our spatula makes? From this point on, it's very important to keep a close eye on your jam and stir it frequently, because the thicker it gets, the easier it will be to burn. We're going to keep stirring and let it cook down some more.
In our small kitchen, we've got the plan. 3 natural wonders to make a homemade jam. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Sweet ripe strawberries, no sugar in the pot. Sweet ripe strawberries, no sugar in the pot. Ooh. Just berries, lemon, a touch of heat. No sugar, just nature's treat. Mixing love in every stir. Healthy, fresh, how sweet we were.
Okay, so we're going to take our plate out of the freezer and spoon a little jam onto it. You want to make sure that you're getting some of the thick liquid and not just the berries. Then we'll put it back into the freezer for a couple of minutes, and in the meantime, we'll turn down the heat and keep stirring.
Bubbles rise, aroma sweet. Patience needed for this treat. Taste and see just what we've got. Our jam's the freshest from this pot. Just berries, lemon, a touch of heat. No sugar, just nature's treat.
Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes and our jam should be ready to test. So we'll remove the plate from the freezer now. You see what I'm doing here? What do you think that we're looking for? We're checking to see if the voids fill in after we drag our finger through it. If it does, the jam is way too thin to set and we're gonna need to cook it for a little while longer. But if the jam remains in the same place or it moves very slowly, we can celebrate because our jam is done. You remember that mason jar that we filled with boiling water and set aside? You can go ahead and grab it now. We're gonna dump that water out, and it should still be pretty hot, so we wanna be careful because we definitely don't wanna burn ourselves. Then we'll grab a wide mouth funnel and add our hot jam to the jar. And because we heated up our mason jar before adding the jam, we don't have to worry about the temperature change in the glass causing thermal shock. We'll just keep scooping until all the jam is transferred from our pot into our mason jar. You should wind up with somewhere around 16 ounces of strawberry jam. Next, we'll gently tap our jar on the counter to settle the jam and remove our funnel. Just be sure to handle the jar carefully as it will be super hot. We'll take a clean wet paper towel or rag and wipe the rim of our mason jar to remove any excess jam. We want to do a really good job so that we get a nice clean seal. That will keep our jam fresh longer and prevent possible contamination. Once that's done, we'll place a new sterilized self-sealing lid onto our jar. And rather than just screwing on our metal band at this point, I recommend using a mason jar vacuum sealer. It removes the air from the jar, which slows down the oxidation process and preserves the jam for a longer period of time. It also helps to retain the flavor, color, and nutritional quality of the jam so that it tastes fresh for longer too. And I absolutely love mine, so you should check it out. I'll put the link in the description. And now that our jar is sealed, we can screw on our metal band. We'll let our jam cool down to room temperature. This step is important, so don't skip it. It's what's going to allow our jam to fully set and ensures the lid seals properly. Just leave the jar on the counter for a few hours until it's completely cool. Once it reaches room temperature, you can store it in the refrigerator or the freezer. If it's vacuum sealed and unopened, it should last several months in the refrigerator. Once opened, it'll last about 2 weeks. If you decide to freeze it, it'll stay good for up to a year. When you take it out of the freezer, just let it defrost overnight in the refrigerator. And when you open it up, give it a good stir and enjoy. Look how amazing it looks. It's so bright and vibrant. And not only does this strawberry jam taste delicious, it's healthy for us too. And that's pretty sweet. You know what else is sweet? This video right here. So go check it out.